And a good afternoon, Quad Cities. It is right now 12:07 on this Tuesday, April 14th. I'm meteorologist Andrew Stutzky back with you again for another update regarding our severe weather situation for this afternoon. We've officially heard from the Storm Prediction Center again for their 11:30 update, and there have been some minor adjustments, but nothing too earth-shattering compared to what we heard at 8 o'clock. We'll go through those. Also, the latest run of Future Track is in. We will go through that as well. And going to kind of narrow down the timing on when to expect these storms to arrive in your particular hometown. So we'll spend about the next 20 minutes or so going over all of this information. If you are watching via our Facebook live stream, the simulcast, you can put your question right there in the comments section, and I'll get to that as soon as we get to the end of our discussion here. But a lot of times I think the most common question is, when are the storms going to arrive in my hometown? I've got a nice handy dandy map put together that will show the timing that we are looking at. So let's begin here on this very warm and soupy Tuesday afternoon. Temperatures already in the 70s, racing for the 80s. You could almost feel the storm energy in the air at this hour, priming our atmospheres for a very active afternoon. Here's the details regarding our weather impact alert. That still is expected to begin at 3 o'clock, lasting until roughly 9 o'clock this evening. Now, the threat is likely to be over a little bit before then, but we tack on a little bit of extra time at the end just in case things slow down a little bit, which has happened a couple of times in these cases. But we're talking about everything threat-wise today, including some very large hail that may exceed 2 inches in diameter, close to 3 inches, which would be baseball size. Also, the potential for a few long-track, very strong tornadoes coming across the region today as well. So knowing that, let's dig right into the setup and what's going on. What is driving the severe weather today? Well, there's a couple of things. If you take a look at the regional satellite and the radar, a few things I want to point out to you. Obviously, there's an area of low pressure sitting in southwest Iowa. That low is going to traverse its way to the northeast here. Secondly, we have a cold front that is slowly sagging to the south. These two things are going to meet up over northeast Iowa, driving explosive severe storm development as we get into later this afternoon. There's also another little disturbance here moving into northeast Missouri. That thing as a whole is moving to the northeast. That could fuel some scattered severe thunderstorms also later in central Illinois, into east central Illinois. But today's setup really favors the northern half of our viewing area, roughly along and north of Interstate 80, for being the favored zone for severe weather today. Areas south of Interstate 80, especially way to the south, near Burlington, Monmouth, Macomb, Galesburg, Knoxville, Peoria, probably won't see much in terms of severe weather today, if very little storm activity. So I want to reiterate that. The further south of the Quad Cities you go, the more likely it is you won't see anything today. This is going to be Quad Cities and points to the north when it comes to a threat. Take a look at the temperatures across the region. Yeah, it is very warm. We're just about ready to push into the 80s. We'll go mid-80s this afternoon, a heat index near 90 at times, especially south where we have a little bit more moisture, but it's just another factor feeding into this system. So here's the latest update from the Storm Prediction Center. This is their 11:30 update, so just came out about 30 minutes ago, and you can see not too much change. We still have this very expansive area of enhanced risk, what we call, or number 3 out of 5, level 3 out of 5, from Interstate 80 to the north. In fact, this has come just a little bit further south. Not the 3 out of 5 itself, but the tornado threat has come down just a little bit further south, and I'll show you that here in a moment. But again, if you're in the 3 out of 5, this area in here, this is going to be the prime zone to see severe weather today. If you're down here, you're not going to see much at all. Very, very quiet. The atmosphere down here to the south will be what we call capped. There's a layer of warm air aloft just above the ground that will inhibit storm development. Here's the change with the tornado zone. It has come down just a little bit further south. Earlier this morning, this was more up near Highway 30. Now it's been brought down to the Interstate 80 corridor, and I agree with this. You know, we looked at the high-resolution run of Future Track during the 9 o'clock live stream, and it showed that intense line of storms kind of traversing Interstate 80. So this now would encompass that scenario, bringing the tornado threat into the Quad Cities, Muscatine, Geneseo, and yes, I would even say Princeton and LaSalle, Peru. You drop south of that, the tornado threat quickly diminishes, very quickly. You go north of it, that's not only where we have a tornado threat north of Interstate 80, that's where we have the threat of seeing strong tornadoes. Check this out. Also dipping this a little bit further to the south, this is the potential tornado intensity. Here's how to interpret this graphic. This graphic is not a guarantee that those of you in that dark red color are going to see an EF3 tornado today. This graphic shows us where the potential lies if a severe thunderstorm were to maximize all of the available ingredients today and come together just perfectly. This is the zone where that violent tornado would likely land as we get into this afternoon and this evening. So that is a big heads up for those of you that are in northern Whiteside County, Carroll County, Joe Davies County, Jackson County, Clinton County, also up into Dubuque County. All of you are in that zone, if you will, where we have a little bit more of a favorable environment where we could be looking at a long track violent tornado heading into this afternoon and this evening. Again, not a guarantee. This does not guarantee that's going to happen in that location. Heaven forbid it does, because I don't want to see the aftermath, that's for sure. It would be very violent. But those are the areas that give you an advanced heads up that it is not an appropriate place to take shelter in a mobile home or a manufactured home. If you're in that dark red zone and you live in either of those structures, now is the time to start making plans and prepare to move to a more substantial structure. If you've got a friend, if you've got a family member that you can stay with for a few hours this afternoon and this evening that has a basement or that has a more substantial structure, that is my recommendation to you. In fact, I just texted my mom a few minutes ago. My grandma lives in a house in Rock Falls that does not have a basement. It's a very sturdy house. But I told her, I said, you know what? It probably wouldn't be a bad idea if Grandma came and stayed with you for a few hours this evening, because at my mom's house, she's got a basement. And that would definitely, I think, be a little bit more robust compared to what she's living in right now. So I'm giving you my personal recommendation from that. I'm not telling you, exactly what to do, but I'm giving you a suggestion that if you or someone you loved lives in a place that doesn't have a basement, especially that's in the dark red zone that we've got on the map here just to the right of me, it's a good idea to see if you can get somewhere where there's a little bit more substantial shelter that you can take place in. Not only is it the stronger tornado threat that exists there, but in that exact same area where these really intense, what we call supercell thunderstorms are expected to track, there's the potential that you could see some very, very large hail. How big? Potentially baseball size. That's big enough to do severe damage, if not put a hole in your roof, destroy vehicles and windshields, destroy siding, and also if you're caught outside, not to mention it could really cause you some serious injury, not to mention it's large enough to kill you. So severe thunderstorm warnings, especially today, really need to stay away from windows. That is a dangerous scenario when you're talking about the possibility. Again, this is not guaranteeing that we're going to see baseball or softball size hail, but this gives you an idea. Again, if a storm can get in this region and utilize all the ingredients and come together just perfectly and really, really maximize its intensity, that's the kind of hail potential we have with the setup that is in play today. Let's go through the timing here really quick, and then we'll go through future track, and we'll kind of stair-step our way through this here. Here's our hourly threat tracker, and it shows you how the threat level ramps up as we go into the evening hours. Now, this is for the 3 out of 5 risk area. So this is Quad Cities, Interstate 80, points to the north. If you're south of this, it really doesn't pertain to you. Again, our southernmost hometowns are really not expecting anything in terms of storm development today. But once we get to 3 o'clock, 3 o'clock is when you need to have your ears on. You're checking in with us. You're checking in with the latest forecast. Did anything change? Where are the storms at? Have they formed yet? By 3 o'clock, I would anticipate we'd be under a tornado watch. A vast majority of us under a tornado watch by 3 o'clock. By 4 o'clock, it's go time. We're tracking the radar. We're watching our continuous coverage. I have a feeling somewhere within the 4 o'clock time frame, we will probably already be on the air, if not on the 8+ streaming app, in severe weather coverage at that point, if not by 5 o'clock at the latest. So 4 o'clock is when we start covering the storms. We start tracking them. You're following the warnings as they progress. You're watching the storms come into your location. And you'll need to remain aware roughly until about 7 o'clock this evening. Once we get to 8 o'clock and beyond, the threat drops considerably. The storms head off to the east, and that's it for severe weather as we go through the evening and the rest of the overnight hours. Here's the other set of ingredients that we've got going into play too here. The amount of storm energy today, it's actually one of the higher levels that we have seen so far this early in the season. But there you see the potential by 4 o'clock that we're pushing 2,820 joules per kilogram. And if you look at the bottom of your screen, the bottom right-hand corner, that's our legend that will show you what that means. That means high levels of storm energy. In fact, there's some extreme levels of storm energy not that far to the west of us. So these storms, not only are they going to form quickly, they're going to intensify quickly, and they're going to have very fast-moving upward motion within them, which is going to allow the hail to become especially large in storms that can fully utilize this environment. One of the things we're watching. So here's an early look at the time of arrival here. If you're west of the Quad Cities, especially if you're west of Iowa City, you're looking at between 4 and 6 o'clock. From Iowa City through the Quad Cities into Sterling Rock Falls, just west of Princeton, this is 5 to 7 o'clock. If you're east of Kewaunee and Princeton, getting into LaSalle, Peru, you're talking about roughly after 7 o'clock. So they're not going to be moving extremely fast, but they're not going to be moving extremely slow. We're expecting storm motions today to be generally east-southeast at around 40 miles an hour. Now, that slower movement is good because it means it gives you more time to act when a warning gets issued. This is not going to be like a couple of weeks ago when these storms were screaming at 60, 70 miles an hour and warnings had to be very, very quick. Now we have a little bit more time to react to storms today that they're moving slower, kind of more at their normal pace now that the winds are getting a little bit lighter in the upper levels of the atmosphere. So that's some good news. So again, west of Iowa City, west of Maquoketa, west of Tipton, west of Galena, 4 to 6 o'clock this evening. If you are east of Iowa City, including Muscatine, the Quad Cities, DeWitt, Maquoketa, Galena, Savannah, Clinton, Sterling Rock Falls, Prophetstown, Geneseo, you're roughly 5 to 7. If you're east of that, for Kewaunee, Princeton, into Buda, into Putnam County, you are more after 7 o'clock. That's a look at the latest timing there. Now, let's dig into our future track model. I'm going to show you first the hourly update because I think that's been doing a really good job when it comes to what the coverage is going to look like and where these things are going to track, not to mention the start time. So we're utilizing our hourly in-house model here. Explosive storm development taking place to our northwest after 3 o'clock, going into 4 o'clock. And there you see those severe and intense thunderstorms racing eastward. So here now is 5 o'clock. You've got some very intense looking cells there north of Interstate 80 and then racing quickly to the east here. By 6 o'clock, they'll likely be near the Mississippi River. And then as we get closer to 7 o'clock, we're moving those further to the east. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to rock this back and forth a few times. So again, you can kind of see what we're thinking timing and coverage wise. I also want you to notice that there's not much going on to the south, just like I mentioned a few moments ago. If you're in Galesburg, Knoxville, Burlington, Monmouth, Macomb, even maybe Aledo, and perhaps even Princeton, you may not be seeing much. I mean, look at that little cell near Princeton there. That's something to watch. But the further south in that line that I just mentioned there, there's not much going on. Again, the atmosphere is what we call capped. And unless a storm can break through, we expect the south half of the region to largely be quiet. And this may barely scrape the Quad Cities metro. We're going to watch that. I mean, look at how close that is to the metro Quad Cities as we get to 6 o'clock. It is so, so close. So we're not going to call the all clear for the metro. We do very much think that there's a possibility this line could build itself a little bit further south and get into the metro and get into Geneseo, possibly into Kewaunee and also into Princeton. But again, there you see the timing of this line. So it's matching up very nicely with the graphic that I just showed you. Coming into the Mississippi River around 6 o'clock and then east of that after 7 o'clock. So hopefully that helps with the timing. Let's go ahead and check another model. Let's check the NOAA high resolution rapid refresh model, see what it has to say. I wasn't really impressed with what it tried to do earlier. I mean, it had barely any storm coverage whatsoever. We can see if its tune has changed here because we would have seen 2 model runs since then. We looked at 9 o'clock. So kind of a similar story with what we showed earlier at 9 o'clock. Not much in the way of coverage at all. It holds a cap very strong. Is this a possible scenario? Yes, but I have very low confidence that something like this is going to happen. I think this is way too limited given the ingredients we see in play. So I think we're still going to continue to disregard the rapid refresh model. I very much like what our in-house model is doing, and of course that's the one that updates hourly, and we'll see if that trend, if you will, keeps going as we go into the afternoon. But I like the coverage on that model. I like the placement of where the storms are, and I like the timing of the storms. I think that matches up really well with all the data that I've looked at and all the input from the Storm Prediction Center and also our friends at the National Weather Service, all agreeing with that. Let's jump really quickly into tomorrow, because we have another threat of severe storms tomorrow, and then we also have another threat of severe storms as we go into Friday. So let's start with tomorrow, just a little bit of an early look, and we'll take future track into tomorrow as well, show you what is a possibility. So this is for tomorrow. It'd be in the evening. It looks to be kind of similar to the timing we have today, but the storm mode will be different. This is likely going to be a line of storms, a solid line, that will bring mainly a wind, a hail, and an embedded tornado threat as we head into tomorrow evening. Notice it's only a 2 out of 5, so the storms are not going to be as intense as what we're expecting today, but still the threat is there for tomorrow. So let's go into our future track model, and what we're going to do is kind of blow past some time here. We'll go into Wednesday morning tomorrow, which is quiet. Let's go into the afternoon. You can see we've got some clearing going on, likely see temperatures get close to 80 degrees, and then that line of storms starts developing to the west. This arrival time is actually just a smidge later than what we're going to see today. So it looks like another evening event tomorrow with a wind, hail, and embedded tornado threat. This is going to be a line. This is not going to be individual supercells like what we're seeing today. So there you see again, kind of slowing this down, taking it step by step for tomorrow evening. Looks like after 7 o'clock for the time of arrival, and then kind of lasting up until 10 o'clock or so, probably 11. So tomorrow looks like 7 to 11. 7-11, see what we did there? Today is 3 to 9. So today is earlier than tomorrow. Tomorrow is going to be a little bit later. Lastly, before we can get to the weekend and finally get off of this active pattern, because I think we're all going to have severe weather fatigue by the time we get to the weekend. Friday, we have to talk about Friday evening. Another chance that we could see a similar situation to Wednesday, but just a little bit more robust, because this cold front coming in on Friday is a lot stronger. It's the one that's going to end the 80s, it's going to end the severe weather, it's going to end the humidity, getting us into a much cooler weekend. So you can see that the Storm Prediction Center already has a 3 out of 5 sitting to the west of us for Friday. So that is what we're going to be tracking as we head into Friday evening. Again, we have plenty of time between now and then to sort out those details, but just wanted to give you a quick heads up that that's one of the things we're going to be watching in addition to tomorrow as we go into the rest of this week. So let's get to your questions. We're just about at the bottom of the hour. The boss man has arrived.
Woo! He's doing a great job. Great job. Are you ready for some coverage?
I think we're ready, yeah.
All right.
Gonna go home and mow the lawn,
Yes.
quick nap, and then I'll be back.
Excellent, excellent. He's going to answer some questions right now.
And I know there's a lot of them out there too. Oh my goodness, because there's been so much information to digest, my word. So let's go ahead and go through those here and see who we got. You know, my darn phone just doesn't want to keep that Facebook Live up. Let me go back into it here. Give me 1 second. There it is. Okay, who do we have so far this afternoon? Let's see here. Kelly's asking a doctor appointment for the mister in Moline at 3:30. He's in a wheelchair, trying to decide if I need to reschedule. I don't want to be out and about with him if we're going to get pelted at that time. 3:30 is early. Again, we're not thinking anything here in the Quad Cities until likely after 5. That's been the very consistent timing that I've been seeing all morning long. I think right about 5 o'clock or so. I've hated that timing because that is the core start of your evening commute for most folks that are leaving work. And I've been telling folks all morning long, because of that, you need a way to receive warnings in your car. Now, the Storm Track 8 app, great resource. If we are streaming continuous coverage, which I think we will be easily by 5, our iHeartRadio media partners are going to come in a clinch with this because they will simulcast our coverage as long as our hometowns are under a threat here. So whether it's WLLR, you've got KISS FM, Mix 96, all of the other iHeartMedia stations, you can stream those in your car once we have a threat here in the immediate Quad Cities. So that's another way for you to get severe weather coverage while you're driving home tonight. But I think 3:30, if you can get back home before 5, I think you're in decent shape when it comes to the timing of that. Let's see. Brett is wondering the threats for the Moline area. We're certainly under the tornado risk, that is for sure. We're just on the southern edge of it. The stronger tornado risk a little bit further to the north as you go north of Highway 30. But we're still thinking hail, some wind, and yeah, even a possible isolated tornado as far south as here. We have Ma from Bettendorf asking, what about Bettendorf? I think the same thing. Also in the hail and the wind and the tornado risk, isolated tornado risk will certainly be possible. Again, the timing we think for the metro, right between 5, 6 o'clock, perhaps as late as 7, depending on where these storms end up forming initially. Let's see here. You be safe as well, Bob. Thank you. Janice, you're asking for Dixon, Illinois, I'm assuming. If not, let me know. You can correct me there. Dixon's definitely going to be later. We think after 7 o'clock when you get past Sterling Rock Falls for it to get that far. So a little bit later this evening. But still, even Dixon is kind of in that prime zone to get that potentially really intense hail and also a tornado as well. So Dixon far enough north that you are definitely in that threat. Justin's going to be out and about chasing tonight. We appreciate it, Justin. I'm sure we're going to be calling on your excellent expertise a little bit later this evening. You be careful out there. Robin, let's see. When will it hit Muscatine? Again, there's your timing. Muscatine between 5 and 7 o'clock this evening. Lois, you're very welcome. And Mandy's asking about Davenport. What is it looking like for the storms? Hail threat, wind threat, isolated tornado, again for the immediate Quad Cities, and that is between 5 and 7 o'clock there. Galesburg, we're actually not expecting much of anything for Galesburg. Galesburg, Mount Pleasant, Burlington, Monmouth, Macomb, you may not even get a raindrop out of any of this. You're likely going to be what we call capped. It's going to be too warm to storm. The layer of the atmosphere aloft gets a little warm and doesn't allow things to rise. So we don't, as of this point, see much happening very far south of the Quad Cities. Those hometowns I just mentioned, likely not going to see much develop this evening. Now, you will get showers and thunderstorms later tonight and into tomorrow morning, but those are not expected to be severe. Those will just have some heavier downpours with them, and that's about it. Let's see. Haley's asking, what is the biggest misconception people have about tornado warnings? Well, tornado warnings, a lot of people, we're in the Midwest. We are visual people. We like to go out on the front porch or back porch, and we want to see it before it actually gets here to verify that it's happening. That's a Midwest thing. I've seen it everywhere. On a case like today, there's a lot of moisture. Any tornado is likely going to be rain-wrapped. It's going to be very hard to see. So if you do get placed under a tornado warning, like I tell everybody, no matter your confidence in your forecasting or your weather knowledge, it's best to take immediate shelter, preferably in the basement. Don't go outside trying to find it. Especially a day like today, a lot of things are going to be rain-wrapped, and it's going to be very hard to see. Lacey is asking down around Alpha. And again, I think you're far enough south that you're not going to see much activity down that way. Doesn't look like it's going to be too active there. Most of this is going to stay to the north here. Kewaunee kind of right on the border. If we can get a cell to kind of develop on the south end of the tail of this storm system, that would be possible. It would be mainly a hail and an isolated tornado risk there, but all the data is still suggesting that this is going to be just to your north, just to the north of Interstate 80, based on everything that we've seen this morning and what we're seeing for right now. So I hope that helps. We're going to continue tracking things as we go throughout the rest of this afternoon. Ingredients coming together, all of that good stuff. Fully expect that most of us will be under a tornado watch, especially along the I-80 corridor and points north here in the next few hours. The Storm Prediction Center does a good idea of giving us a heads up before they issue that of who could possibly be included. So make sure and follow all of us on social media. Chief Meteorologist James Zahara, myself, Morgan Strackbein. We'll pass along that information as soon as they let us know. And as soon as the watch gets put out, that means it's go time. Your ears are up, you're paying attention to what's going on with the radar and all the warnings that come along with it as well. Meteorologist Morgan Strackbein is also going to be helping us out in the Beast. And that's going to be an important tool set for us to have on a day like today. Again, the radar can't tell us everything. It's nice to have that experienced eye on the ground. Morgan knows what to look for. She's been through this experience many, many a times. She knows how to stay safe, and she knows exactly where to be and in the right spot at the right time. So Morgan's likely going to be heading up for the Clinton and DeWitt area just to kind of start out, position ourselves there, and then we'll see if we need to move from there. We'll see what happens there. All right, I'm going to let you guys get on with your afternoon. I've got some grass to mow, and then I'm going to come back here later this afternoon, and we'll get started with our streaming coverage as soon as those storms are up. So stay safe. Again, we'll continue to follow things as we go throughout the afternoon.